Welcome to BrotoGP. This is episode number 46. We are not coming at you with a race to talk about. We have something really special planned right now. So let me start this one off thanking Riders Law and checking out riderslaw.com. Riders Law is our sponsor. They're helping us bring you this amazing episode and this awesome surprise. They're your California motorcycle accident injury lawyers. So if you ever get into any trouble, please check them out. That's Riders Law with a Z, and check out riderslaw.com. But on the phone with me, as always, is Kevin.
As always.
He's here. Everett made it this time, too.
Yep, I'm on a good connection finally.
Yeah, finally. He's not driving today, but we'll get there. Unfortunately, Dennis hasn't made it this time, so it's
finally got sick of him bailing.
I think it's 3 in a row now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's okay.
3 strikes.
I'll say we'll talk shit about him and then he'll finally come back. But so replacing Dennis and his amazing accent is someone else with an accent. So on the phone with us right now is actually Karel Abraham.
Hello, guys.
There we
What's
go.
up, man? How you doing?
So that's right. So we have our first professional rider interview, and I hope this is going to be good. Karel, thanks so much for joining us. BrotoGP is blowing up, and we hope that we can make your day too and give all our listeners some good insight into actually what goes down with a pro rider. So I think first.
Sure. Thank you for inviting. I'm really excited to talk about all the stuff that you want to know.
Yeah, and for Karel Abraham, former Moto2 winner, MotoGP rider across a couple different manufacturers, quick foray into World Superbike before he returned to the GP paddock next year with Aspar Ducati. Karel, that was kind of obviously a surprise for a lot of people. Not everyone knew you were in the running for that ride. So when the news came out, it was a kind of a big surprise, the final piece in the puzzle of the silly season, as they call it. And kind of maybe give us a little insight on how that deal went down, how you joined that team, and why you decided to join up with Aspar Ducati and re-enter GP.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be a big surprise for a lot of people, but we started our talks with Aspar, and actually with Gino Borsoi, who is also an ex-rider and now working for Aspar, in the middle of the season. So, or maybe even earlier than that. And, we were just talking. I asked the question if, there would be a way of getting my spot in Aspar team, and we started to talk more about it, and then really finding the way how to do it. And the reason why I started to talk to Aspar, to get a team in MotoGP, it's pretty simple. I decided to Superbikes. It was because I wanted, not because our team or anything else. I just wanted to go to an independent team, and I also wanted to get a good bike, a decent bike that I can ride, where I would like to ride. That means Superbike top 10, maybe top 5, maybe get a podium. If you see Nicky Hayden, he was doing really great this year. So that was my plan. And I found a Milwaukee team who was a champion in BSB, who had a great Yamaha, who had a great rider, Josh Brooks, who was the champion in BSB. And I thought that would be really, really a great idea to get there and to ride for them. Unfortunately, a couple of things didn't go the way we really expected. And we were not riding Yamaha, which we were supposed to from the beginning of our talks and sign the contract and stuff. And unfortunately, what should I say? The season wasn't really good for me. It wasn't even good for Josh. We both were kind of disappointed with the bike and with the things happening in the team. And the results were just really, really bad. So I started to talk to several different teams in World Superbikes. I actually even had quite a good deal on the table, but finally I didn't take it because MotoGP, well, you know the best. It's just the best deal that I could have.
You're saying you had another deal available to you in World Superbike?
Yes, actually there was a couple of deals. Some of them were better, some of them were worse. Some of them they ask you to bring money, but the bike or the team is really good. Some of them they don't ask you to bring the money, but the bike is not as good as it could be possibly. Some of them you can even get quite well paid, but then it's your decision. Do you want to have a great bike, but then you have to find quite a lot of money to bring it to the team, or you want to have a not really a good bike, but get a good salary. But that will be maybe just for 1 year, and then you'll be screwed because you have no ride for the next one. So that's the decision and that's the politics behind it that you have to make for you.
It definitely looks like you found kind of the best of both worlds. You know, the Ducati has kind of proven on Michelin's this year that even the older spec bikes that are a year or so older are going really well with that Michelin tire, the rear tire. And Aspar is obviously a really professional team, really well run, close connection to Ducati course in general. So, with a 2-year deal and a well-run team, it seems like you straddled that line, got the best of both worlds, and got to return to GP, which is kind of the premier of international racing in general.
Oh yes, I think Aspar is really good. Ducati has always been my favorite bike. I actually have ridden it for 2 years. What is it, like 6 years ago?
Right.
In that times when Valentino was a Ducati rider as well. But unfortunately, at that time I was riding a Ducati. It was, I think, the worst 2 years for Ducati ever. So I chose the wrong time to ride there. But anyway, I really like the bike. So I'm looking forward to sit on the new GP15.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead.
Well, and Karel, I was going to say, so we're going to ask you some questions that we want detailed answers. But if you're uncomfortable with answering them, I totally get it, man. But the reality is, this is not the podium. This is not where you're thanking sponsors and all that kind of stuff. So I got to know, man, which was the team that gave you the best offer to stay?
All right. So, that's kind of a question. I don't know if I should answer it because I had some of the deals that were really great, but were not clear, or it was not clear enough. But
okay.
I don't know, if I have to pick the best one that I was talking to and that it looked that it's on the way, then it was a new team to Superbikes, and it was Mr. Puchetti's team. So he's coming to Superbikes next year with Randy Krumenacker. That's already clear. But I still didn't have on the table what the conditions will be. So Puchetti was one of the teams that I was talking to.
Would you be Would you be Randy's teammate, or would you just have taken his spot?
I think I would have been Randy's teammate, but I don't know, because by the time I was talking to Mr. Puchetti, I didn't know about Randy going to Superbikes. So I don't know if he was lined up and it was a sure thing, or if they changed their mind. I don't know.
That you had touched upon, there was some contracts, when you decided to go to BMW, it was supposed to be with Yamaha, then they changed, and you mentioned you had some offers in Superbike, but the terms weren't really clear. Is that a common thing in racing, that people try to set up teams and set up contracts, and you might even sign something, then things change drastically afterwards? It seems pretty surprising to me that you intended to go to Superbike on a Yamaha, and then they kind of bait and switched you into a BMW. Is this just something that is part of the normal paddock, or are those things were they pretty big surprises to you too?
Well, I don't think it is. Milwaukee, they had a very good experience with Yamaha, and they were good. They won the championship, and I expected them to be on a very good level in Superbike. And when I started to talk with that team, we were talking about Yamaha all the time. But unfortunately, at one time, they just changed their mind. They just said, you know what, we are not taking Yamaha. They had some reasons for it, because Yamaha apparently wasn't really nice with them, let's say, but I don't know. That's what I just heard from them. And they decided to go to BMW. And at that time, when they changed the whole team, they changed it to BMW, I had no other option. It was already too late. All the teams were signed, so all the contracts were signed. So I knew I was going to be with Milwaukee. I was like 100% sure it's going to be with Yamaha, but then it changed, and I couldn't do anything about it. And also, they promised a couple of things that will happen, and that the bike should be good and everything. I don't think the bike was as good as it was supposed to be. I don't think it was on the top level, on the top 10 or top 5 level. I'm absolutely sure about it. And also, there was some other things that were promised and didn't work out. So unfortunately, my experience of this season, or of actually it's already last season, 2016, wasn't absolutely as good as I expected and as I wanted.
What's interesting, though, is it kind of maybe a silver lining that being able to get back into GP so fast, it seems like a really good time to come back. The Michelins are evening the field out. You see a lot more winners. You see a lot more podium. The satellite bikes are able to get podiums, top fives. You've seen Laverty and Barbara get fourth and fifth, and Aspar is a real stable team. And with the electronics rules evening things out too, it almost seems like you're getting back in at the perfect time, where the field is the most even and the best chance to get some really good results on that bike with the new rules and the new tires. Can you touch on maybe what you are expecting for next year?
Well, definitely, I think it's a great time to come back. To be honest, if you see the results of Barbara, Eugene Lovett, and the other riders, it is awesome. There is some great results. On the other hand, if you see it, the good results were especially on special conditions, if it was even rain or wet and dry, if it's something like that. But it doesn't matter. They do a great result. The Barbara does great results even on a regular basis. All the practices, all the races, all the time. He's really good. So I believe that next year should be, or I really believe in that, it should be my best year ever in MotoGP. I will run it throughout the winter, so when I sit on the bike, I'll be 100% on it. And
I was going to say the other thing, Karel, is I think it's the first time you've been 100% healthy in a long time too, right?
Oh yes, I had plenty of injuries in the past, and right now I feel 100% fit. So yes, I'm okay.
Right, and what's interesting too is you're coming back, but not everyone knows, but probably most guys that follow us know that Karel's been doing some testing work with KTM too, but that's enabled you to get some extra time on the Michelins, right? So you sort of know what you're expecting when you go back with the new tires, as opposed to it being obviously a big shock on your first day. You've done some laps on their new GP bike, so you've got a little bit of experience on the Michelins. Can you take any talk about, Michelins, your experience, and why maybe they're evening the field out a little bit this season?
Well, that's definitely a point. When I sit on a Ducati, it will be nothing really new to me because I was testing KTM. I didn't have as many tests.
Okay.
9 days testing. It was amazing. It was a lot of fun, and the first time I was GP bike is really very, very different to a superbike. Okay. And yes, I even have some experience with Michelin. I have to say they are not really bad. I'm quite happy with them. There are something about consistency and stuff that are not really as good as I expected. Or you probably heard a lot of things from GP riders. So. You know what they're like, but to me, I just like them. They're fine. They're good.
Well, what do you find is the issue with consistency? Because we've heard it through the news, but we've never heard it out of someone's mouth direct.
Well, what I felt from, especially from the rear tire, is that you have 3 tires, same spec, the very same tire. You use them, but all of them work a bit different. So. That's not really good, because if you have all the riders lined up on a grid with the same rear tire, it doesn't mean that the rear tire is really the same or will perform the same.
Okay, yeah, so there's some variance to it that can affect outcomes. That's interesting.
We've never heard that before.
Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
Oh no, he spilled the beans. Oops.
I felt that it's not, the difference is not great. That's quite obvious because you can see all the riders fighting next to each other and stuff, but all the tires are not the same. Even if it's the same spec, it's not the same, and it's something is not really great. Then the blisters, but I never really had any big blisters on the rear tires. Sometimes a little bit, but nothing really huge like they had in MotoGP. And about the front, I have to say, that's okay. That's all right.
So, but if the rear, you hear a lot about the rear tends to be the focus of that, whereas you heard on Bridgestones it was the front that was, front-oriented riding, but that'll lend itself to Ducati, it seems, especially the spec that you're going to be on next year, at least according to reports, which is going to have, good rear grip and good rear drive. It's going to, that bike you're looking at riding next year, seems like it'll play to the strengths of the Michelins, in a way that obviously you saw this year with some of the riders on Ducati. They got some pretty good results for their satellite riders, for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward for that. I'm really looking forward for the first test that's coming very soon. It will be actually right after Valencia, so yeah, really soon. And yeah, this Ducati is just a different Ducati than I was used to, because it's what like 4 or 5 years of evolution. So
right. You bring up a good point. Are you testing right after the Valencia race and joining the team, or are you testing, like the tests following that weekend?
We actually have 2 tests, and I think you mentioned both of them, because one of them is in Valencia. The other is, I think, not a week after Valencia, but 2 weeks after Valencia, or something like that. And it is in Jerez.
Okay.
The one that Jorge can't ride at, probably.
Yeah, speaking of politics.
I didn't even heard about that.
Yeah, they
right there.
Yamaha only approved him to ride at the post-Valencia test, and then they said he can't ride till the following year. So he gets one test, and then the following tests until 2017 he's barred from participating.
All right. Well, I didn't know that. That's the news for me. So yeah, but anyway, the other test will be very interesting, because I'm even looking forward to see how the other riders will perform.
Do you, and coming into the test, what's your plan going to be? Are you going to have like specific objectives and whatever, immediate things once you get there, or are you just going to be trying to feel it out and kind of shake down the bike?
Yeah, so in Jerez, it will be really interesting for me, because I only will see what I will do, what the other riders of MotoGP will do, but also right before our test there is a test of superbikes as well in Jerez, just the day before our test. So I'm really looking forward to see the riders from superbikes in the new teams, how they will perform.
Right. Yeah, because you're seeing some of those riders, in GP moving back to World Superbike. One of them, who I don't even know if we were allowed to name or not, but you're obviously leaving the team you'll be joining soon, and he's returning to World Superbikes. There's kind of a little switch taking place.
Well, yes, Eugene is switching places with me, basically. But there is also other riders, like Stefan Bradl, who's going to Superbikes. He's going to be teammate of Nicky Hayden, and I think that's going to be pretty interesting, too.
And then,
how do you think, some GP riders have switched and moved to World Superbike and found some success. Others have had it a little more tough. How do you feel a rider like Bradl, who you've competed against actually in multiple series, because you raced against him in Moto2 and GP, expect him to do in World Superbike next year? Do you have any thoughts on GP riders making the switch, and how you expect them to do, or is it just simply based on getting what team you're on kind of determines your results?
Well, I think he will perform really well. I think he'll be really good. You can see he's going to be teammate of Nicky Hayden in Honda team. Nicky Hayden has done pretty good results this year. His teammate right now is Van der Mark, who's a great rider too, and he has done some really good results this year as well. Plus, they will have a new bike, new Honda 1000cc's coming out now, so new superbike. So they should be. I think the team should be really strong for next year. And even Bradl has to learn a bit how to ride that bike, that superbike. As I said, it's different, a lot different compared to MotoGP. Still, he's able to make really good results, I believe.
Yeah, and so, you're making the swing back to GP. Do you have any idea do you have goals for next year that you're looking for? You had said, obviously, for this year in World Superbike, you were looking for some top 5, some podiums. You seemed like you definitely had some plans that didn't work out. But next year, do you have goals and plans for GP? You said you're the healthiest you've been. You're on a well-established team. What are the results you're looking to get? What are the realistic, results that you're attempting to go for?
I'm always really afraid to say what positions I would like to ride on. It's just
okay.
I want to do my best. Of course, my teammate will be Alvaro Bautista. So if I'll be with him, doing a similar result, I think that would be a great success. But we'll just see. Sometimes you say I'd be happy for 15, and actually you can ride in top 10, and sometimes you said, I really want to be in top 10, and finally you are happy for a 15th and 1 point, which was, for example, the case of this year.
So, but not at your own results, but kind of speaking of you, like we touched on it for a second, you did some tests with KTM. I know you don't really want to talk about the specifics of that too much. You said in pre-recording, but KTM's jumping back into a competitive, season with Aprilia and Suzuki already there. Do you feel like that bike is something that's going to be competitive off the bat, or do they have a season like Suzuki had to have their first season, a shakedown season, just to get everything back in line? I don't know how much you could talk about the KTM, but it's something that a lot of people are really interested in.
Well, I think that KTM will be pretty good from the first season. Look, you said something about Suzuki that they had to have their shakedown season. That has to happen with KTM too, because in the racing environment, it's always a bit different than during the test. Even though they have a great crew, they have really good crew who has a very good experience in MotoGP and in World Championship racing, they still need that shakedown season. And if I remember well, in Suzuki's shakedown season, I don't even think we should call it a shakedown season because they did some pretty good results. And I believe it was their first season when in Barcelona, Vinales and Espargaro, they did both the first places in a row, in the first row on the grid. So that's the shakedown. It doesn't sound shakedown to me. They just did a great result. True. And if KTM is doing what Suzuki did in their first season, I think they can be really happy. But it's achievable. They are really there. They are in the pace. They can do the race pace quite easily for all 110 kilometers. They can do a single fast lap. Of course, there are just some little things, little details that they are still working on, but that's MotoGP racing. They will be working on those details for now on till they finish their MotoGP thing.
Yeah, I definitely feel like you're coming back into what's going to look like a marquee season for GP. The most manufacturers they've had, a lot of really good riders on the grid, a lot of obviously bikes that look really competitive and even throughout. It'll be a really deep field, and I'm pretty excited for next year in general.
Yep.
I'm excited for next year too. You can believe me that.
Yeah.
Well, so Karel, what are you doing in the off season, man? What's keeping you busy? What are you doing for fun?
Well, right now I'm driving my car. I still have 1,400 kilometers, which is 900 miles ahead of me. So pretty far. There's a lot of things happening.
You're living in Monaco. You're driving home to Czech Republic, Brno. All right, what kind of car you got right now, and how fast are you going on the autobahn?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, as I'll be driving through Germany as well, I can drive as fast as I want, which is a good thing, right? But here in Europe, we don't. I mean, we have to follow the speed, but not as much as you in the United States, guys. We go a bit faster, yeah.
Right. So wait a second. So what car are you driving today?
I've got GLS.
GLS. That's not too shabby. And then
exactly.
Yeah. It's not too shabby. All right, so GLS, breaking some rules, not worrying about the speed traps or the cameras. Tell us about Monaco, man. What the hell is up with living in Monaco? Like, what do you do there? I mean, it seems like a random place to live.
Well, it's not really random. It's actually quite international because people of all nations are living in Monaco, and I've got a couple of my friends there. By the way, Eugene Lover is living there as well. Loris Capirossi, Alex Buzar, if you know who he was a really good rider in Motocross World Championship.
Nice.
Yeah, there's plenty of people that I know living in Monaco. So I don't know. I've been living there for 3 years now, and I'm quite happy. I'm still living in Brno as well. I would say most of the time I spend in Monaco and traveling, obviously. But I still do get to Czech Republic every now and then to, do my schools because I still go to school, to do some works. I'm from Czech Republic, so I'll be coming back probably for ever.
Well, I know. I mean, I just know you that you're always up to fun shit, man. You're always flying a helicopter, shooting some guns, doing some just good fun shit. So what what else you got going on, man? Give us some details.
But you shoot guns at
Well,
helicopters?
No, I haven't done that yet. I think there is one place in Texas where you can do that, but it's still quite expensive. They want like $1,000 for it. So
yeah, can't you? You don't. But I gotta think you know Colin Edwards, right? You can't go to the ranch and shoot the minigun he has out there and rip around.
Oh yeah, that will be fun. I can talk to him, but I think he doesn't have a helicopter yet, so we would have to rent one.
Oh yeah.
You can fly it for him.
Oh yeah, if we find one, which shouldn't be really difficult because they rent those. Then yeah, it should be possible, definitely. But I just don't know the rules in the United States. I don't know if you can just take a helicopter and shoot guns out of it.
This is America. We can do what you want.
Yeah, I know. So maybe next time when I'm in Texas, which actually will be in the beginning of next year. So why not?
Right, yeah, exactly. You go and get out to the ranch, shoot some guns, fly some helicopters, ride some dirt bikes. It's all good.
Yeah, that's definitely a good fun.
Yeah, exactly.
I did a lot of things like flying a helicopter. I still like the guns. I actually am studying now PhD.
Oh snap! You're getting your PhD in what?
Well, that will take a long time. I'm really slow in that studies. But anyway, it's about the guns because it's called University of Defense in Czech Republic, and it's about the guns. So I'm really interested in that things. But I'll be super busy this winter because we have now 2 tests in November. In December, I would like to go for a short holiday. By the way, I'll be in New York City for a couple of days, so I'm really looking forward for that. Then there will be Christmas time. Then there will be January, which again I have to work out. I have to do motocross to be really prepared for the season. I still go to school, so I have to pass a couple of exams. And then in the end of January, we are going to the first test in Malaysia, so it will be really busy winter.
And that kind of brings me to a point. You're switching teams. You got a bunch of tests lined up. You got to put your nose to the ground. Is any of your existing crew coming with you, or are you taking a crew that's already there and you're gonna have to gel with those guys, new crew chief, new mechanics? Are these all new people with you? New team, everything, or are some of your existing guys coming with you?
Right now we are working on that. I would really like to take 3 guys, which is Martin, Bart, and Yannis. They've been working with me since the beginning of the World Championship, or almost since the beginning of the World Championship. I would like to take them with me. It looks like Aspar doesn't really have places for them, but I'm really working on it to get them there with me. But as I said, we'll see, because on Tuesday actually we should have a meeting with the guys from Aspar, and we should talk about all these things.
Okay, and kind of find your direction on what, some of the factory teams are testing new parts and testing this, but, the Aspar team has the established bike and there's a lot of data for it already. This is obviously their second year now running that bike. So are you just kind of getting in there and trying to run some hot laps right away? Or when you get in there to a test and you're looking towards a long season, is there like a methodical breakdown to what you're looking to achieve, each test? I know some guys get out there and try to throw out hot laps. You see at the end of tests, and some guys really push hard, and the end of season tests or the early season tests see some funny times. When you enter a test, what are you looking to achieve in the first test or two that you see at Valencia? What is kind of your main goal as a rider returning to the series?
Well, as we said earlier, I've been testing KTM this year, so I do have some laps on a MotoGP bike from this season. So when I sit on Ducati, it will be nothing that new to me.
Right.
So definitely from the first test, we need to push and we need to try and we need to work really hard. There's one thing, I don't know if you know about that, but Ducati shares data throughout all the teams. So when there is a weekend, I don't know, after qualifying, after any session, actually, you can just open up the data of anyone who's riding for Ducati and check how they ride, which is really good because you can see where you're slow, where you're fast, where you should just do different things. So it's really good for me.
We've kind of touched on that in our podcast before, that Ducati has so many bikes on the grid that it's almost helping develop around Michelin tires or new electronics a little easier than maybe some of the other bikes. So Yamaha only has 4 bikes on the grid, and you see Ducati having basically doubled that. And then to say that they literally support all their satellite teams and let everyone data share, that's got to be really good for someone coming into the series on the Ducati and for the smaller spec teams, and that helps teams like Avintia and Aspar really move forward with their riders and with their bikes in a way that maybe other teams that were running before didn't have.
Oh yeah, as I said, I think it's a really, really good thing, especially for me. Maybe not so good for the factory team, but for me it's a great opportunity because after every session I can open up the data of the faster riders. I can open up the data of the factory team and see what Lorenzo does in the second corner. Or any corner that I pick. So it's really good because when you compare it like that, you see clearly and immediately where you're losing on a track, and that's I think great chance for me to improve myself.
Yeah, and with everyone's data being you're really able to build kind of an ideal lap for the bike, because you can see where everyone's strengths add up to what the bike is capable of, and then you try and do your best to get to that spot.
Yep. Hey, Carl.
Yeah, you're right. On the other hand, you know what? Every rider is different. So some riders are really strong on the brakes, but are quite weak on the exit of the corner. Some riders are opposite. They are very, very weak on the turn entry, and they are fast when you need to get on a throttle. They can just fly out of the corner. So you cannot really compare it like at 100%. Like you are really slow there, and you are really slow there. You can't do that because then you would actually, if you try to push in those places, then you actually get slower. So you need to be really careful how are you using those data, and you have to be prepared and ready to work with it.
Yep.
Interesting.
So your buddy Casey Stoner is going to be a test rider at Ducati. Are you excited to be working together?
Why are you asking that question? We had some kind of issues with Casey Stoner in the past, but you know what? It's the past, and I don't care. Casey Stoner, he is a great rider. He's proven it not only on the racetrack during the races, during the MotoGP races, but even during the tests. You can see they give him a bike now, and he's still able to get out there and make one of the top of the times. So he's a great rider, and I'm really glad to have him as a test rider, or to have him testing that bike, because
Absolutely.
I believe that he's the one who can do the most development.
Yeah, he's one of the fastest guys ever to ride a bike, right? So it can't hurt. So do you think he'll ever actually race a bike again at the GP level?
Well, I don't know. I expected him this year or last year to be racing, to replace some of the riders in the field when they are injured or something, and it didn't happen. So It is a bit strange to me. I don't know if Ducati didn't offer it to him, or if he didn't want to do it for any of the reasons. I don't know. I really don't know. It's a bit strange. I expected him to be on a grid this year or last year, and he wasn't. So I don't really think he will.
Yeah, I hear you. I think we were all kind of betting on that on the side, thinking is he going to do it? We all thought he'd do it at least once at Australia, and then he never did it. So it kind of let us all down. But I think the good news is you'll be able to prove that you're faster when you guys get to share data at one point.
Well, yeah, that is a good news. Sharing of data is always great, and
Sure.
I'm really looking forward for that.
You saw some stories of when Lorenzo and Rossi were in the same garage and they weren't sharing data. There was a wall in the garage, and you've seen some of those bits and pieces of before. But it really seems like Ducati works as one big family and kind of keeps it. It's a small department, and they kind of work by the sum of their parts. Everyone is involved, and everyone's sort of helping everyone over time, and it's kind of like rising tide raises all boats. You know what I mean?
Yes, I think Ducati is like that, and I don't think there will be any problem between the riders in Ducati. On the other hand, if you see who's going to be teammate of Valentino Rossi next year, it's Vinales. That's going to be interesting because right now, of course, Valentino will be smiling. He'll be happy with his new teammate. But I really believe that Vinales can fight for the championship next year, and we'll see the tension in the team then.
Yeah, I actually said that in our podcast that I penciled in Vinales as champion. Are you saying that I might have been right?
Well, as I said, Maverick Vinales will be fighting for the championship. It won't be easy because it will be his first year in Yamaha, and it will be his first year winning races. At least that's what I believe. And when you are winning races, the things become a bit different. It's not easy to be on the top of the list. Plus, there are names like, of course, his teammate Valentino Rossi. There are names like Jorge Lorenzo. Hopefully, he'll be able to be on the top of the list again next year. Of course, Marc Marquez. So it won't be easy for him, but I believe he'll be there between those riders fighting to get the title.
Yeah, that's a good point. Where do you expect Lorenzo fighting for the title on the Ducati? He's had a rough patch in the second half of the season, but the beginning half of the season, we saw a guy winning races, left and right, and clearly fighting for the title before he had a little slip. Do you think he'll be, him and Ducati can fight for the title next season?
I think part of the reason why Jorge Lorenzo was not really fast in the second half of the season is because he was already in 2017. He was thinking about the guy. He was thinking about his new ride. I think he believes that his bike is not good enough, that Yamaha is not supporting him as they found out that he's going to Ducati. By the way, I think it was not really a good move to say it before the first race or after Qatar. I think it's just way too early. But anyway, I think that Jorge Lorenzo was mentally already somewhere else, and that's the reason why he was not as successful as he should be. He wasn't where he should have been. But I believe that next season he can be really in top three. It is difficult to bring Ducati to get a championship title. That will be really difficult because Ducati is a great bike, but I don't think it's so consistent like Yamaha. Ducati can win really easily at some racetracks, but some racetracks they'll be having quite a difficult time. So we'll see. I believe that yes, Jorge Lorenzo is able to be in the top three for sure.
Wait, I was going to ask, do you think that if Vinales has tremendous success, that Valentino Rossi will have the ability to potentially detract from his support, the better parts? Do you think they'll start supporting Vinales, or they'll still keep on giving it to Rossi as the number one?
For the beginning of the year or of the season, it will be Valentino for sure, but then the things may change a bit, and team's rider number one may be Maverick Vinales, because, as I said, I believe that he can be a bit stronger in the season. Well, it's difficult to say because Valentino, he has proven me wrong a couple of times. I thought that he's not going to get any better, and he won races, and he's still there, and he's still fighting for the championship. So I think Maverick Vinales could be slightly better than Valentino, but I might be really surprised, and Valentino may get a title next year. That can happen for sure.
Yeah, we're going to know 3 or 4 races in, right? And then they'll modify
and
those.
Also, that team number one, I don't think it's happening anymore. I believe that both of the riders will have so similar material that it will not really affect the rider to be slower or faster. It's just the rider who is slower or faster in a team like is Yamaha factory. Or that's at least what I believe. I've never been in a factory thing, so I don't really know, but I think it is that way.
But I have read some talk, Lynn Jarvis sort of viewed, instead of having a clear number one, clear number two, that they just simply had 2 number ones. Some people viewed it as kind of a dangerous plan to have, because usually you want a clear hierarchy, but that inter-team rivalry drove Rossi and Jorge to win, 7 titles at Yamaha. They were trading titles back and forth. Someone like Rossi has still finished, second 3 times in a row now in the title. So sometimes there's that, if we just pit 2 number ones and have them compete against each other, that they'll bring the best out of each other.
What do you mean by 2 number ones? So far they had number 1 and number 2, and now they're going to try harder to get a better material for both riders. Do you think they haven't tried in the past? They are trying to think the best they can for both of the riders. Do you think that those teams like Yamaha or Honda or whoever or Ducati, they haven't tried in the past? Do you think that they had number 1 and number 2, and now they're gonna just push harder for a better material to get 2 number 1s? I don't think it's that way. It's just always the factory is trying at 100% to get the best material to their factory team, and they don't really care number 1, number 2. They're just bringing the best they can, and then it's up to the rider to deliver a result. I really believe it's like that in the factory teams. Of course, then you have satellite teams. So when they make any material, let's say when they make 10 engines, they will take those engines. They will take the 2 of them that are the best. They give it to the factory teams, and then as it's getting worse and worse, they give it to the rest of the field. But of course, the best is going always to factory, and I don't really believe that Yamaha now has Vinales and Valentino Rossi, and they were like, you know what, let's try a bit harder and bring the best material or even better material to both of the riders. That's not happening. Right. They were doing the best for Lorenzo as they did for Valentino.
That does bring me to something, though. We mentioned about inter-team rivalries or competitions brings the best out. One of the things that we saw this year that was kind of public was at Pramac on a satellite Ducati, they basically admitted that they were going to have one GP17 for next year, and they said whoever gets the best results between Reddy and Petrucci was going to get it. So, we kind of saw a public mini championship among a rider. Is there anything at Aspar like that where results are, predicated on getting you better equipment, or if you finish ahead of Bautista at the end of the season that you're going to get better equipment the following season, or is it just straight up equal machinery between both of you and that's what it is?
I don't have anything like that in my contract, but again, if you think about it, next year, if I'll be better than Bautista, if I'll be performing well, there will be no reason of not giving me a better bike for 2018. It's always like it. The better rider gets the better material. So There's nothing like it in a contract, not with me nor with Ducati. And I just believe that the better I'll be, or maybe even Bautista, if Bautista will be. Give me a second. If Bautista will be in, let's say, top 5, I believe he will get a factory bike. I believe he can get also the factory bike in the middle of 2017. If you get a good results, you get a better material, and you can even see it with Jack Miller this year. After he won the race, immediately he got a better stuff in his bike.
Yep. Right, yeah, in the end, you're racing, and it's about who gets across the line first. And so, that's the goal, and that's why everyone lines up on the grid, and you get across first, and you reap the benefits.
Exactly like you said. I'm running out to find a petrol station.
We've been going for about an hour, Karel, so if you feel like that's good, we can wrap it up, and if you need to move, or
we can. It's okay. We can talk. I was just driving, and I didn't check how much fuel is in my fuel tank, and right now it's just on the limit. But there is a petrol station in 8 kilometers, so I should be fine.
Oh, you're all good then.
Yeah, we can talk. We can actually talk as long as you want, because I thought the tunnels will be a bit worse. It will be dropping more often than it actually is. So yeah, we can talk.
It's only a 10-hour drive. He's got nothing else to do.
Yeah, he's got plenty of time. Right, exactly.
Yeah, I got another 6 hours. We can talk for 6 hours, and I have a charger in my car, so I'm fine.
Oh, okay, good. So we're going to have a 6-hour podcast, guys. It's going to be great.
You made some good money this year riding World Superbike. You could afford a charger.
Oh, yeah. I made enough money to get my charger, yes.
Okay, good.
So
I actually even bought 2 or 3 chargers.
Yeah.
One is in the car, one is at my home, another one is traveling with me. I got plenty of chargers right now.
Okay,
good. We talking chargers.
Yeah, we talking chargers.
I got to know about the Sean Muir team. So they gave you this bike, you signed up, you start racing, you're running around at the back, and you've got DNFs, you've got crashes, and it's just not looking good. What was really going on with the bike? Was the electronics not good? Was the chassis constantly bent? Was it? I mean, what was it?
You know what? I think I have to say it was a package. I was really working hard with BMW guys, and they were really working hard. But I think that the politics of the company, of the factory of BMW, is just not to invest that much of a money into a racing. In the past, they have proven that if they try, they can be really on the top of the list. They can be winning races. They actually did it in the laundry. But right now, if they see the results and BMW is on the 5th position, they're like, that's nice. That's fine. We are happy with it. And they don't have that feeling that they need to invest, a bit more money to win those races. They don't care. They are just happy with it. I don't mean the guys that were working for us. They are really working hard. They are doing their best. But it's more of the company BMW. It's more of the, what should I say, the owners or the people that are running the actual factory. So that's I think the biggest problem. And it's not only about electronics, where I think electronics are not really great, and this is the biggest or the worst thing on that BMW bike, but it's also the chassis. It's more things that has to be changed on BMW to get it on a top.
It's kind of funny you didn't end up on the Yamaha, because the Yamaha, even at the factory level, didn't do anything special. So maybe, being on the BMW wouldn't have made any difference either way. So
you're right. They were not really performing well this year. On the other hand, they were performing much better than BMW did. And still you can see that Gintoli did a podium in the last race. Still you can see that they were in, let's say, top 7, top 8 all the time. So I believe that Yamaha was a bit better package.
Yeah, it came on strong at the end of the season for sure. But then, to your point, the factory BMW, quote-unquote, the factory, which they never really had a full factory, was definitely tapering off near the end of the year. So it didn't seem to make any difference.
Well, I actually heard that that Gintoli wants to leave the factory thing. He wants to get out of Yamaha and ride for someone else. I don't know if or what will be happening with him in the future, but I think that also for Gintoli it was kind of a disappointing year, as he didn't ride a lot. So yeah, that's
I think a lot of the guys at the Yamaha were a little disappointed. I know Lowe's, on his Instagram and Twitter was kind of despondent a lot and was always sort of posting like, we're trying real hard, but the results aren't there. He kind of seemed like he was trying to hold it together. I have a question. When you're on it, you said you knew the team wasn't what you expected and things are going difficult. Is there a point at the end of the season, last third of the season, where you're kind of just like, man, this team isn't that great. The bike's not getting the development. I'm already going to GP next year. I'm just kind of over this,
You know what? Towards the end of the season, maybe you could think that I just gave up and I wanted to finish the season, be healthy and fit to restart, my career with Ducati and with the MotoGP bike. But it's not true. I was pushing. I was trying really hard to get my results, to get in top 10, to get some points, but it just didn't work. And even some people were quite suspicious with me because I didn't go to Jerez. I skipped Jerez, and they thought I just gave up. And I was like, I'm not going. I'm not interested anymore. So I have my contract with Aspar. But it didn't happen. I got really sick. I was with the high fevers at home, in the hospital. I just couldn't go simply. So I really was trying. I was even trying in Qatar, and I believed in much better results than what I did, because I like Qatar. I've always liked Qatar. It is just a shame, but unfortunately the bike didn't work enough or well enough to bring me on the positions that I wanted to be and where Brooks wanted to be, of course.
Yeah.
Right. And it's interesting that we talk about Qatar, and because, Qatar was obviously your last race in Superbike, but it's going to be your first race back in GP, the traditional opener. I know you said you don't like to choose, to say your finishing positions or make predictions, but just as the weekend in general, how much are you looking forward to getting back to Qatar on a Ducati, on a GP bike, under the lights at the show? And that's going to be, how much are you really looking forward to starting the season, next season fresh?
Well, I'm really, really looking forward for that. 'Cause, again, as I said, Qatar is one of my favorite race tracks. It's all happening during the night, so that's really exciting. Ducati is one of the best bikes I have ever ridden, so that's a great thing too. So yeah, it will be amazing. I'm really looking forward for that. Before that, we still have 2 other tests. We are going to ride in Malaysia. We are going to ride in Australia. So there'll be plenty of riding before we get to Qatar.
Yeah, plenty of stuff to get on there, new, stuff to test, new team, new tests, all that stuff like that. We've obviously, this has been great for us, and I'm having a really good time listening to you kind of, give us some of the inside info, tell us about things. I don't know, you're more than welcome to come back after any of those tests if you want to give us an update or info or tell us how you like the team and what's going on. We'd love to have you back on.
Oh yeah, I'd be really happy. If you need to know anything, I'll have a couple of tests, as I said, in Jerez and in Valencia in November. So maybe after the second one, we can get a quick call and I can update you on what is happening in MotoGP and how the Ducati was.
Oh man, that'd be great. We would love that. Just get a quick interview, get some updates, and kind of keep the fans going.
Awesome, great. So I'm looking forward for that.
Oh, me too. Thanks for coming on, man. It's been great. It's been a good time.
Yep. Thanks
for talking to me.
Good talking
Bye,
to you.
guys. See you. Bye.
Yeah.
Do you have a moment of Zen prepared?
Fuck no, I'm just too much listening to him, man. He started dropping knowledge at the end. That was awesome. I mean, we have him on. I'm doing the outro, Dennis. Dennis has been on mute the whole time, guys, just following us and telling us everything we're doing wrong. I'm going to tell you right now, we had Karel on, and by halfway through, he was throwing shade on everyone. Dude is BrotoGP to the core, man. I'm so glad he was on.
He just texted me and said, "Was it good?" I said, "Dude, jump back on. We were just fucking ending it formally."
Yeah, he can call back in if he wants to shoot the shit. We just need to have a formal ending to it.
This is the formal ending.
This is yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
look at that. We got through an entire episode with no rant.
I think it worked out. We're gonna close it out though. Everyone, check out BrotoGP. Check out riderslaw.com if you need any help. Thanks for listening. And Carl's back.
I'm back, guys.
Hey, guys, what's up, man?
Hey, bro.
Hey, bro.
How was it, guys? Was it good?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, a little bit of editing just to clean up the brakes and stuff, but I had a really good time. Stuff I did not know about.
Give me 1 second. You give me cash. But what can I do now? I need my money back. I need cash.
Oh shit.
Someone's trying to shake him down.
Oh.
Dude, the fucking jit.
So what can we do about that?
How many euros can you put inside?
Okay, but it's impossible. There is only 73 liters. That's not possible. It has 100 liters fuel tank. I cannot take from the market.
I can. For you, I can.
Fucking hell. I just refueled for 40 euros less than I said, and he cannot give it back, and he cannot refund me.
What?
Dude, burn the place down.
But he still has the gas.
You heard it.
What?
Yes, but I paid it with a credit card, so it's just like my bad.
Oops.
Yeah, I'd call the credit card company and reverse that shit quick.
Yeah, exactly.
I just need to take fucking Snickers and Kinder Bueno worth 40 euros.
$40 of Snickers, it's sweet.